2022, there was a meeting amidst the legislation of Georgia. My good friend Doug Richards from 11Alive News covered the story, and I actually didn't even notice until yesterday, February 7th. Thanks to my friends, the Georgia Medical Cannabis Society, who also, I think, just found out yesterday.
Well, for years now, as more states have legalized recreational marijuana, bills to do the same in Georgia haven't gone anywhere. But today, Republican senators held a rare hearing on 3 proposed measures.
The chairman of the committee telling our Doug Richards he does not support legalization, but the issue deserves to be heard.
No. He didn't say he doesn't support legalizing it. He just said to not interpret it as him supporting recreational cannabis.
Don't interpret that as me supporting recreational marijuana.
Just because you legalize it doesn't mean that you support doing it, right? It's legal to drink. That doesn't mean that you support drinking. Let's be clear, people.
Bills to legalize recreational marijuana have been introduced by Democrats and ignored by Republicans here at the Capitol for years.
Can we just ponder for a moment the brilliance of the name of this article? GOP ponders marijuana legalization bill. Of course, I prefer to call it cannabis, but this really captures what happens at the meeting, which I'm going to link below. GOP, it's like they're just pondering it, but it's a positive thing because they're actually pondering it. They're not saying no. Now, just in case you didn't know, the GOP also stands for the Grand Old Party, which also alludes to the Republican Party. So right off the bat, we are kind of dividing the Republicans and the Democrats instead of uniting them through cannabis. It would be ironic then for me to say, let's meet David Clark. Now, State Representative David Clark introduced this legislation, HR281, in 2021. HR281 would place a question on November's ballot about legalizing recreational marijuana. Spoiler alert, Representative David Clark is a Republican, a conservative Republican.
So this hearing was very unusual.
We need one to put in the ballot.
Democratic State Senator Sheikh Rahman proposes legalizing marijuana and creating a Georgia retail marijuana code, which would regulate the sale of recreational marijuana.
Marijuana regulation is not associated with an increase in hard drug use.
I thought I heard you say something to the effect that marijuana was not a gateway drug.
Over the last decade, the legislature slowly legalized medical marijuana oil. In so doing, its backers repeatedly insisted that it would not open the door to recreational marijuana.
If that motion comes forward, I would not be opposed to it. But
this is Republican Representative Micah Gravely presenting SB 195, sponsored by Republican Senator Jeff Mullis. And next we'll be hearing from Republican Senator Matt Brass speaking on HB 645, which was sponsored by 4 Republicans and 2 Democrats. That's 6 people.
This one has been heard. There have been some changes. Senator Brass would come in the door. Hopefully they can hear us out there and we can discuss this bill. All right, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. HB 645, which I believe y'all heard last week, come back, made a couple little changes specifically in the dispensing. So if you'll look, I'm reading off of LC 338806S.
I haven't quite dug into this footage yet of that meeting. I will edit that for you at a future time. However, I did already put out the video on SB 195 because I happened to go there because I thought it was a hemp farming bill. And you can see in that video, I was pretty surprised to see that they actually switched it out. Yeah, SB 195 actually became HR 645. And I was there. And I witnessed it. I think it's called an omnibus. I forget what the name for that is. Anyway, you can see here that you click on it and it says hemp farming, but when you click on the version of it, you can see, oh, it looks very similar to this other bill that they were trying to pass, but it passed the House, but it did not get through the Senate committee the first time, so then it went to the Senate Agricultural Committee and it passed there as SB 195, and it passed. And now that I've utterly confused all of you, back to you, Doug. But wait, this just in. 11Alive has officially changed the name of their story on YouTube to the Georgia Lawmakers Ponder the Cannabis Legalization. Awesome. Good job. Back to you, Doug.
To recreational marijuana.
Marijuana is absolutely a devastating drug.
Marijuana? What even is that? Cannabis is fine, though.
Folks who have kept marijuana illegal in Georgia dominated this hearing.
I love how Doug said that. Folks who have kept cannabis illegal in Georgia dominated this meeting. That is so right.
Any notion that marijuana is not a gateway drug is absurd.
Sir, you are arousing my amusement right now, so I guess that makes you absurd to me. What's also absurd is how these hearings are scheduled with no notice. Why didn't I get an invite? What was I doing Thursday anyway? We're making music together. Oh yeah, I was not supposed to leak that. Oops. Another epic Sunday songwriting collab coming up in March.
So I want the committee to be educated, and let's see if there's public support for that or not.
Yeah, that must mean that he supports the bill to put it on the ballot, because that's the only way to find out.
Republican Chairman Bill Cowsert made the decision to hold the hearing.
Don't interpret that as me supporting recreational marijuana.
Are you hearing from any constituents that are saying, hey, it's time to do this?
No, I'm only hearing the other side.
I'm ready to grow it in my own garden.
Well, if it's the United States, then why isn't it legal in every state?
My name is Brian McBrien, and I'm ready to grow cannabis in Georgia.
And I support everybody growing their own plant, and I want to see hemp grown everywhere in the world.
Yes, we should each be able to grow our own.
Marijuana legalization may have gotten a historic hearing here at the Capitol, but it is significant that the chairman did not allow the committee to vote on Senator Rahman's bills and may never. At the Capitol, Doug Richards, 11Alive News.
Thank you so much, Doug.
The chairman did not allow the committee to vote on Senator Rahman's bills and may never.
I'm not sure if it's so much that he didn't actually allow them to vote. I think he just didn't want to do a vote yet.
So I want the committee to be educated, and let's see if there's public support for that or not.
Because he's preparing them and preparing all of us to come out and say, senators, support this, support this. Why vote on it too quickly? If they voted on it, they might not have voted yes now. So now we are giving them a chance to learn and educate. Now, speaking of education, I think it would be amazing. This is a request and maybe a suggestion, but more of like a wish that mainstream media folks or any media folks that I know a lot of indie media folks already do this. That's why I'm targeting like 11Alive and Fox. Like, if you cover a hearing that is part of legislation, please put the link to the live stream of the hearing so that people can see it for themselves, because it's so easy to report on just snippets of it. But when people can go and educate themselves and see it easily without having to like, you know, search for stuff, then it just makes it easy for everyone to learn everything. So I'm going to put the links below here. And remember, you can always go to square one by simply going to legis.georgia.gov, legis.ga.gov.
This committee to order.
By the way, there are a couple of ways that you can find the live stream of this so that you can watch it. First of all, you go to the Regulated Industries and Utilities group, you press on the meeting archives there, and then you can see the date where the arrow is. Go to February 3rd, which is the one right here. And I also linked this page below, and it'll just bring up all of the Regulated Industries and Utilities videos.
Have 3 bills on our agenda today. All 3 brought by Senator Rahman of the 5th District. Senator, you have several bills that all deal with marijuana, both retail sales, recreational use, and the medical marijuana aspects. I have put them just in order that I thought made sense. I want to give you time to speak to each of them today. I've told you that I feel like any senator filing a bill has a chance to be heard and present their case. It has really been a couple of years since we've heard medical marijuana issues in this committee. There were changes last year that went through the health committee, but I wanted to give you the opportunity to make your case. I've explained to you and the committee this will be a hearing only. We will not be taking a vote today, but I wanted to give you a chance to explain what you're trying to accomplish with this legislation. I want you to discuss Senate Bill 263 first. That's your Georgia Retail Marijuana Code, because I think that gets to the core issue or the end game of all these marijuana bills that we've been looking at over the years. And then let's hear what the public has to say about this. Committee members may have questions as well. Once you complete that one, I'm going to let you just talk about all of them or whatever you think we need to know. All committee members have in their folders the Senate Research Office summaries of your bills and hard copies of the bills themselves. You're free to go in as much detail as you feel like it's necessary to educate us.
I go into a lot of detail in Hepidemic 2020. Check it out.
What these bills provide for and your rationale for it, the public demand for it, or however you want to present. These bills to the committee. It is easiest, we find, for the public to hear what you have to say if you present from the podium there, because we have a podium mic that's wired through the web system and you'll be able to be heard freely. So if you will, with that, start with Senate Bill 263. It's titled the Georgia Retail Marijuana Code, and describe what that bill does.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, for giving me the opportunity to present the bill that we have before you, SB 263. You are right that it's been there for a couple of years. I was kind of surprised when I got the email that you want to hear the bill, so I appreciate it.
Wow, he's been waiting for a couple of years and you think you're patient. When did he get the email? He was only given a day and a half. Dang, no wonder why we didn't get invited.
To you and the committee to that you were ready to listen to me what I have to say, but I'm going to make it short. This bill, what SB 260 does, is really, this was legalize the sales of retail marijuana throughout the licensed establishment. That's what they're going to do. It was really to impose an excise tax that would be constitutionally earmarked to be split between the education and the transportation infrastructure. This bill has all this mechanism how we can do it all, but that's the bottom line. This bill really would coexist with, but we're not going to replace any medical marijuana bill that we had, or we're talking about the facility that we're going to have basically that could be a dual license for retail and medical. This will not going to establish anything separate than what, if somebody has a medical license establishment. And this would also cover the products such as edibles that we don't have. Some of the state may have the THC or oil for the medicinal purposes, but doesn't have edibles. And that's what these bills can do. Now, currently, we have probably, I think, around as of last year, I think there's the states that has reported that around $10 billion just a tax revenue for the 18 some states that have some kind of illegal way to adult uses of cannabis sales. So
hold on, I missed that number.
It's a $10 billion, $10.4 billion.
Is that the
tax
sales
revenue?
So tax revenues currently are $10.4 billion nationally?
That's correct.
Okay.
Yeah, we don't know how much this is the tax was reported basically.
How many states are we talking about where the retail sales of recreational marijuana are permitted?
Right now, 11 states have adult usage stores. They have altogether around some forms around 18 states.
So they're getting about $1 billion each
billion
tax
each.
revenue?
That's correct. That's correct.
Okay.
$1 billion each.
Sorry to interrupt you.
No, that's fine.
Didn't understand the numbers.
And,
by the way, even Wikipedia will show you that it's legal recreationally now in about 18 states, plus Guam and DC and the Marina Islands, or whatever they're called, sorry. and also all the reservations. It shows on the right side when they became legal, some as early as 1973, some of them recently like 2020, but a lot of them 2016. I mean, we are like seriously behind. It's like 6 years behind. All these pink clouds I'm making are where you can grow your own plants in your own home or your own garden, which is basically, I think, almost everywhere where it's legal you can grow your own plants now, it looks like.
Mostly right now, the single most valuable crop right now in like Alaska, Colorado, Massachusetts, Nevada, and Oregon. These are some of the states basically right now that the most of the crop there. They have it, and 11 state actually has operating stores, and they have license support around 13,000 farms too, basically. If you look at it in terms of economic revenue that can generate for the transportation, for education, I think is huge, especially if we look at some of the study that we have right now, that it's not necessarily an impact of economy in terms of health too. Marijuana regulation is not associated with an increase in hard drug use, basically. That's the study shows. It's the criminal activities, unsafe in the workplace, and illegal use of marijuana by teens.
Actually, this study says that cannabis use declined in teens where it's legalized.
These are the things that if you look at the state that legalize, the study shows that this negative impact is really low.
I'll link this article below. Also, the fact that smoking is not a crime anymore reduces crime. When someone's not treated as a criminal for using cannabis, this reduces the impact of what shaming and locking someone up does to someone, which creates quite a lot more issues in their life, which could lead possibly to crime.
And there's also some correlation between that, opioid uses too. And most of the state that has legalized marijuana, the opioid uses is really substantially lower than some of the state doesn't, currently has the legalized marijuana. And also this doesn't really associate any adverse effect, in terms of workplace. The study result really actually show declining workers' compensation benefit too. Which corresponds almost 20% reduction in workman comp income that state that legalize marijuana for recreational use. That's according to the National Bureau of Economic Research. So if you have any more questions, but this is basically the crux of the,
I've got a couple, and our vice chairman may have some as well.
All right, press pause. We're going to get back to you, Chairman Cowsert. I am going to stop the video here, though, for now. Give you these 20 minutes and come back maybe tomorrow or whenever I can and get another 20-minute chunk out of this meeting for you all. Hey, this gives me a chance to ask for someone to sponsor this video as well, since I didn't get one for this video. Maybe part 2 or part 3, or maybe there'll be a part 4. Hopefully not. Hopefully I'll get it done in just 1 or 2 more parts. This week they are hearing the hemp bill as well, which I put on my Instagram. I'll let you know about that. That is HB 481. Oops, I mean SB 481. So yeah, lots of cannabis talk in the Georgia legislation world. So thanks for watching this video, you all. I will work on part 2 ASAP, and of course the link to the meeting is below in the description so you can watch it yourself without my silly commentary. No, that was not a good. Have a beautiful one. See you soon.
We can do that.